While importing data from multiple sources in Microsoft Excel, what you often observe is that your final data contains duplicate entries and you want to remove those duplicate entries. So in this video, we will see how we can remove duplicate entries from a data set in Microsoft Excel. This is the first video on a series of videos on data cleanup because removing duplicate entries is the primary data cleanup technique. Let's look at our first data cleanup technique, that is remove duplicate rows. If you have compiled your data from multiple sources, it may contain duplicate rows, and most of the time you want to remove those duplicate rows. To remove duplicate rows from your data, select all of your data, then click on data, click on remove duplicates, and here you can see the remove duplicates dialog box. In the remove duplicates dialog box, you have an option to select and deselect columns. If you select all the columns here, Excel will delete a row only if the content of every column matches in that row. But in some situations, you may not care for the content of some columns, so you can deselect those columns here. Like for example, I will deselect the order ID here because I know that order ID is unique for each individual row. I will uncheck the order ID, then I will click on OK. You can see the message here, 8 duplicate values have been removed, 92 unique values remain. The important point to note here is that when Excel finds duplicate rows, it keeps the first row only and deletes the subsequent rows. What you should also note is that in Microsoft Excel, duplicate values are determined by value displayed in the cell and not necessarily by value stored in the cell. What that means is when you have same data displayed in different formats, Excel will consider that data to be different. For example, in the two cells I have the same date. One date is displayed in short format and the other date is displayed in long format. Microsoft Excel will consider these two cells to be different. Sometimes you may also want to identify the duplicate rows individually so that you can decide whether to delete them or not. Now let us go a step further in the video and learn to identify duplicate rows and the number of times those rows have been duplicated. To identify the duplicate rows individually, first of all you will concatenate the data from all the cells into a single cell. You will use this formula B1 and C1 and so on and so forth. And here you will ignore those columns which you don't care about. For example, I have ignored the order ID here. After that, you will use the COUNTIF formula to calculate the number of times a particular value has been repeated. For example, in this cell H2 here, I have used the formula equal to COUNTIF G2 through G97 but with a fixed reference, comma G2. Then I have copied this formula all the way down to the end of this data series, and here you will observe the number of times a particular row has been repeated. 1 means a particular row appears only once, 2 means a particular row has been repeated, and 3 means a particular row appears thrice. So this is how you can identify the number of times a particular row has been repeated in Microsoft Excel. I hope this video was helpful. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Keep supporting, subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.